And I gotta say, it's nice to get the little response. So we do have a little. I know I've said it once, but love seeing you on Watch What Happens Live. To which we say, thank you,
Thank
because it was
you.
fun to be part of this. Okay, so let's get right into. So I think a lot of people really did connect with Sai, kind of explaining, just everywhere that she had been and what
Hmm.
she did and how she navigated and
For $1. Oh, okay. You
No, I like a really
let's
like
go
a
together.
dollar.
Me too.
Like a really
This is where I
like a
get
dollar
these.
store.
Do you like a dollar store?
I don't know why I like a dollar store so
So
much.
much fun.
I don't think you bitches grew up poor. That's why. When you grow up poor, you don't like a dollar store. I was too young.
How was that for?
I was always a new girl. I always changed schools all the time. And I got bullied a lot, but looking back on it, I'm like a chameleon.
Where do you think you get your strength, though?
I think I remember growing up very broke, but always just daydreaming. I think I used to just daydream.
Manifestation.
And
babe.
that, I think, was a form of manifestation. I didn't know how I was going to get it. I just knew that I was not going to settle for mediocrity.
what I loved, and I'll turn it over to you in a second. What I loved the most, Russell, was that she I don't know what she said specifically, or is just how I took it, but it was like I daydreamed. Oh my god, I get like, like I feel it because I feel like on times where I'm like nothing is working.
Hmm.
Where's the money? Oh man, if I see another my bank saying below $50, I'm gonna have to yell at somebody. But within all of that, especially when you value and know yourself and you know what you bring to the table, and you are beautiful like me and like Sai, you and I don't know if this is what she was meaning, but like what she say, I would daydream, like she would visually see getting on the other side of of whatever the problem was.
Hmm.
And I remember having a conversation within this last week with a friend having drinks, and it's like, there's just so many different ways to do it, like go more practical, give up on certain dreams or whatever. And then like, I don't want to say that I got in my arrogant phase, but kind of like what Sai was saying, I was like, I see it so I literally said this week. I was like, I see it so vividly happening.
Hmm.
So to give up now would suck
Hmm.
ass.
Hmm.
And so like I don't know if that's what she was trying to present, but that's how I took it. What was your take on what I just said and Sai's conversation in general?
When I was listening to Sai's conversation, I actually thought about Mariah Carey in this moment, because Mariah had mentioned that she became a songwriter to compensate in the way that she was feeling and just to find her space and to really explain what she was going through and when she was coming up and the things that she faced and her just being ambiguous and not knowing where she fit in the community in such like rough times. And I really thought that Sai, as a social media influencer, almost does the exact same thing. She's really showing people that things are possible. You can do things, you can find an avenue, and you can thrive in it. And I feel like she is thriving as a social media influencer. Like I said, my friend Marsha has been following her for over 2 years. And she was actually the one who kind of brought it up like, hey, did you know that this girl I'm following and I've sent you multiple times is actually going to be on the Real Housewives of New York, knowing that you and I go through housewife recaps. So I think it's amazing that she was actually able to make it to where she's at today, having started to provide for herself at the age of 16 and have her own apartment and have to pay rent. We're in this day and age where there's so many people who I need to choose my words wisely right now, but there's so many individuals who are entitled and whom feel that their family should pay for things, and if they don't, it's the world is ending for them. And it goes back to, well, where's your drive and motivation? You have to build for yourself. But then
Mhm.
again, there's an element of these social media influencers who've found an avenue that works for them and they're really thriving. Like Anna Sitar, who Shane and I actually met going to Hawaii when she was first starting out. And oh my goodness, she's blown up completely because her thing was another day, another Starbies. And that just took off. Daily Mail started covering her. E News started covering her. So I think it's nice and it's humbling to see that not all the housewives started off as rich or even just middle class. you know, Sai started off as almost lower middle class. She said her mom was renting a room in an apartment in New York, in Brooklyn. So just think about that, right? You have a child, you know, life sometimes hits you harder than you expect. And now Sai has, you know, her beautiful life and her beautiful family. And it's really showing that you can come full circle and you'll be okay as long as you believe in yourself.
I also think that she has worked through. I mean, can't speak for anybody, but it sounds like the way she was explaining it to the other gals was like she kind of worked through a lot of that stuff. Not a lot of like, actually, none. Although very trying times, none of it felt resentful or like, you know, just
Yeah,
like it was
no.
almost like the pain has already been. At least with this group of friends, she didn't really present any of it. And a lot of times when you talk about those stories, you usually kind of go back to the negative and like, you know, like almost want to show off because you like made it out of that. She didn't really do that. She just presented like the information. And I also think she's really great. Her confessionals have been really, really wonderful. I didn't know what we were going to get with her, but I'm glad it was being shared. She didn't necessarily worry about what anyone else thought. You know, I think some of the girls who actually grew up with a whole different, you know, a golden spoon, they almost didn't, but they almost didn't know how to relate to her, but they also didn't not try. So all of it really worked out. You know, it's not an easy thing to talk about your experiences when one has, you know, this huge experience and then one has a completely different journey. I'm just really glad and proud for her that she, you know, came out on the other side and is so vibrant and wonderful. And, you know, especially in the vein of like being a social media influencer, you know, I said it on last week's episode, Bravo has hired other social media influencers who are as boring as, you know, dry to paint. And Sai is not that, you know, and I'm speaking of Paige DeSorbo, who has stunk up Summer House for mad seasons. It's just, it's impossible. It's crazy. And I worry like, oh, social media influencer, you're not going to also have something to say. Luckily, our girl Sai has something to say. Okay.
She does. Here's another thing too that I want to make a point. I like the fact that Erin was humbled quickly when she said the Dollar Tree or dollar stores can be fun, and Sai was like, no, it's not. It's not. Not when everything that you had growing up was from a dollar store. And that was really a point of perspective for Erin. I'm not saying Erin's a bad person. I'm not saying that she did it intentionally or with malice, but it was just a humbling moment to think not everybody in New York. Yes, New York is the place. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. They've always said that. So, but again, like people still have a journey and people still have a story, and not everyone has had it easy. And so sometimes the Dollar Tree, and when you learn of what the dollar store is, you can learn to take pieces and elements of a dollar store, even as you become more successful, and say, no, I'm going to get this here. Like, for example, for the cups with the built-in straws for Erin's children, I'm going to get these here because the kids are going to destroy them anyway. So why am I going to go to CB2 or West Elm and get something that they make for kids when that's not realistic? Children aren't going to take care of things. You have to teach them how to take care of things. So it was good perspective for Erin to think, oh, you know what? I didn't really think about that. Like, there are people who actually live on dollar stores, and it's this whole marketing tactic that the dollar stores use, as it's affordable enough. It might not actually be the best price in the market, but it's affordable enough to where you can make all of your purchases at this one store, and it deters you from driving to another store because that's more gas money. It's more time. You know, you might get sucked into buying other things. And so they make it convenient of you can get everything here in one place. And in reality, sometimes that stuff is more expensive. But again, it was a nice point of perspective for Erin. And it was a good point of perspective from a viewpoint of an audience, that there are people out there in the world who are still living from the dollar store. And that's how they're making it through life right now. And there's people who can't actually afford to eat healthy, so they go to the drive-through McDonald's, because you can get something off the dollar menu versus buying 1 pound of apples, which is one apple, at $1.25 a pound. You know,